Hey guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm doing a tutorial on this Horrorscope look, Taurus. Let's go. Per usual, starting off by gluing down my eyebrows to protect them from the latex. I'm also applying a little bit of lotion to my face. This helps remove the latex easier and doesn't rip out all of my baby hairs. With my handy dandy sponge and a color that I mixed up on my own of brown, red, and black paint, I'm now painting my face in areas where I'm not going to be applying the liquid latex. I'm going to apply that around the perimeter of my face, down my neck, and all over my chest. I'm also pushing that color into my hairline so that everything is seamless. With black body paint, I'm now covering my eyes so that when I put the prosthetic piece down, I don't have to do it later. And then I'm also taking that down my chin and down my neck and then a little bit down my chest so that we can start creating where that mouth is going to be. I'm taking the prosthetic piece and just starting to line it up with that mouth so that I can get everything pretty straightened out before I make the final move to glue it down. I wanted to build up the walls of the mouth, and I feel like it's easiest to do it on myself instead of trying to do it on foil. So with a little bit of liquid latex and 2 strands of cotton, I just hold the cotton apart and then I dip one side into the liquid latex and pat that down onto my neck, and then I take just my finger in liquid latex and start saturating that cotton to start building up the side of the wall so that I can continuously add more cotton on top of that. I'm adding a second layer of cotton on top of that to continue building up that wall of the side of the mouth, and just adding liquid latex on it with my finger. I feel like sometimes it's easier to just do this with your fingers. It's just makeup. Have fun and get messy with your liquid latex. Except for don't get it on your clothes because it never freaking comes out. I'm now adding the liquid latex to the prosthetic. You want to get it all over it and all the way around to the edges. Let it dry a little bit. You can tell when it's starting to dry, it'll start drying clear. So once you see it mostly going clear, then that's a good time to go ahead and attach it. It was really hard for me to actually attach this prosthetic onto my body because of all of the teeth. I really didn't think that one through, but I have no regrets. But it was a little bit hard to actually push it down. So as best as possible, I did what I could. And it stuck on for the most part. I really didn't have too many issues. I'm taking a little wedge sponge and liquid latex so that I can get right up against where the edge of that prosthetic is and start adding that liquid latex so it's a little bit more seamless. With some translucent setting powder, I am now powdering the dry liquid latex. Please wait until the latex is dry, else you will ruin your brush. But apply it once it's dry, and then I'm going over on top of that with the paint that I already previously mixed up in that same color to start blending out that liquid latex. With black body paint, I'm painting the inside of the mouth where we did the liquid latex. With a stippling sponge and tan body paint, I'm now just lightly grazing over the top of my skin to start doing fur. I probably spent an hour just painting on fur, doing different layers of tan and then white and then black. This was a very time-consuming look. Going back over to the mouth, I'm now adding a little bit of highlight to the walls of the mouth. I'm also adding some black fur around the mouth as well. So with the same stippling sponge, this is an e.l.f. stippling sponge. It probably was like $3 and it's perfect for doing hair. So with that stippling sponge, I'm applying the black and then I'm applying a white body paint on top of that for white fur so that the white would stand out on top of the black. I felt like there needed to be a tongue, so I wiped away a little bit of the black on the inside of the mouth with just a wet towel, and now I'm just adding red body paint and building up that tongue. Adding more fur, because once white dries, it doesn't dry as intense as you wish it would, so that's why I keep going back over on top of that. Then I'm also adding a little bit of white to the teeth. I thought it would be cool to make it look like it was drooling. I also wiped away a little bit of the inside of the mouth along the sides of the wall so that I could also give that a little bit dimension, so it felt like more like you were looking inside of a mouth instead of a black hole. So I just wiped a little bit of that away and then added the red body paint on top of that. I came into this makeup look with only really half of an idea of what I was planning on doing. Once I got to here, I felt like it looked pretty plain and that I should add something more. I'm going in with a silver body paint from Mayron to create the chain and the shoulder armor. To give that a little bit of design, I'm adding a black line on the inside parameter, and I'm starting to add the shadow for each of the chains to make them look a little bit more realistic. I'm adding some black paint underneath that shoulder armor to give that a little bit of shadow to make it look like it's sitting on top of the skin. And then with the same stippling sponge and black paint, I'm adding just a little bit of what I think it looks like scratches on top of it to make it look a little beat up. And then going in with black eyeshadow, I'm adding more dimension underneath that to get a little bit of shade and then make it look like those chains are linked together. Face prosthetic time. I'm adding the liquid latex to the inside of the prosthetic first to get that to dry down first, and then I'm also adding some liquid latex to where that prosthetic is going to touch my face. Just adding it with my fingers and making sure that all of the areas are going to be covered with liquid latex as best as possible. I'm gluing down the nose portion first because that's the center of the face. That's where you're going to want the prosthetic to stick down the most. Pushing that down and then pushing down the mouth and then the forehead. Do this slowly so you give yourself some time to really grip onto the prosthetic and make sure it's exactly where you want it. I wanted to build up the cheekbones a little bit more, and sometimes doing it on even a life cast, sometimes it's just easier to do it on your face versus the life cast. Right here, all I'm doing is taking the cotton like we were using from earlier and dipping one side into the liquid latex, patting that down on my face, and then I am using a sponge on this as well just to push those down. I alternate between using my fingers and a sponge, so whatever it is that works best for you. I wanted to make the cheekbones look pretty high up to make it look like the mouth is actually roaring. So I think I did about 3 or 4 layers of the cotton and latex. I'm also taking a little bit of latex on the end of a brush just to start blending out the edges of that prosthetic. And then I mixed black, red, and brown together to completely paint over top of the prosthetic. I didn't really like the color that it was from before, so I just decided I was going to start from scratch and repaint it. So I started with a really dark color first so that we can lighten as I go. With the sponge from earlier and red body paint, I'm now adding areas where I want to highlight. And then going over top of those with a second layer to get them as red as I wanted. And with a small paintbrush, I'm now getting at each of those grooves and adding in some black paint. Thank you guys so much for watching. Next time I will be recording the prosthetics. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, please make sure to give it a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.